Okay. Can I just remind you all that the recording gets updated into the YouTube channel where it's supposed to be, the channel where I upload everything. So if you are subscribed to that, you will get updates every time the slides and everything gets updated. So I hope I don't have to remind that you all that that's the resource, the repository of all the resources. I've also shared with you the Google Drive link where the slides also gets updated. So hopefully you can find everything from there. So we'll get started today with our discussion on product. We'll talk about product mix. We'll talk about different types of product, and we'll also be talking about new product development. All right. Hopefully we'll not have too much of network issues. So try to be as connected as you can, try to be as visible as you can. Feel free to raise your hand. There's a button to raise your hands. If you've got any question, feel free to raise your hands as well during the time of the lecture. And you can write your comments in the chat as well if you've got any feedback or any question in the meantime. We'll give a pause in between our discussion so that we can take some brain breaks, and I'll be giving some discussion question as well within small groups, so we all can do some reflective discussion. So here's some of our objectives. So we'll try to understand how companies find and develop new product ideas. We'll try to learn the steps in the new product development. We'll know the concept of product life cycle, and we'll also know some of the marketing strategies during the product's life cycle. So we have been talking about different things in this course sequentially. Previous week, we talked about branding. It was all about branding. So we're heading more towards the main, like the P's of the product, marketing mix, the product and the other aspects, price, promotion, all of those things. There are 4 P's we have known. So today we're covering product. Then in the following weeks, we'll be talking about pricing, we'll be talking about promotion, and we'll be talking about place, which is the channels of distribution part. All right, so without further ado, I'm just going to dive straight into our main concept. What is a product? Let us begin our quest with the basic definition of what is a product. So you all know a product is something, physical or not, created through a process that provides benefits to a market. So this is where most companies get it right and some do not get it right, because a product is actually not a thing that you can only touch and feel, but it should have some benefits to the market. It should provide some benefits to the market or some value to the customers. Without any value, if your product is failed to provide any value to your customers, it will not be successful. So the very first question that needs to be asked when you're thinking about coming up with a product or an idea of a product or a service, you have to first think along the lines of value creation. What value is your product going to create for the market? So when you use a smartphone, what is the value that we get? Who's going to answer? Can someone answer? We're trying to deconstruct the concept of value. So that's why I'm asking that, what is the concept of value? So a smartphone, what is the value?
Value is adding something that which gives us the benefit.
Yes, so we can look at the concept of value through benefits, right? Because something which is value that should benefit us. What are the things that we can concept? We can think of.
So for a smartphone, like its value is like the ability to communicate uh, and all the benefits of technology that we're getting from a smartphone can
Yes.
be its value.
Yeah, that's right. So a value the smartphone is offering us is communication, right? So it is satisfying a need, right? So something which is of value should actually satisfy our need and want. This is the concept that we started at the beginning in this course, that everything starts with a need and a want. So a need is a feeling of deprivation, right? And want is something that is backed up by our purchasing power. So when a need is like when you are hungry, it's a need. Hunger is a need. It's a feeling of deprivation. But want is backed up by our purchasing power. So when you're hungry, like you might go to a local Bangladeshi store or Bangladeshi restaurant, but maybe from a different country, they would think about maybe eating a burger or maybe thinking about something different. Maybe they want to get a sandwich. That's something that is called want. So fundamentally, a value, if we deconstruct the concept of value, we have to keep in mind that the two terms are interrelated with value, needs and wants. So a product is something that will provide value to the market. That's what the concept of product is. Now, to further understand the concept of product, it's worthwhile to look into the levels of the product. There are various levels of a product. That's another way, that's another dimension to look at the product. I might just get a little distracted as people are getting into the class. They will just get in and out. So I have to admit people into the classroom. So I'll just get new people get into the class. Okay, so let's talk about the product levels, and that will help us to understand the concept even better. Okay, so these are different levels of product. If you can see my slide, because at the core of a product is what the benefit is, all right? But if we look into the product, there are various levels of product, which is known as customer value hierarchy. This is known as customer value hierarchy, okay? So the value hierarchy is something like it has got these 5 different layers. Okay, so let's talk about these 5 different layers. It's a core benefit, then a basic product, then an expected product, then an augmented product. I don't know if you can look at my slide. The text is a bit blurry. And the last one is a potential product. Okay. More people are waiting on the queue.
So, sir, if I talk about a smartphone, the core benefit will be we can communicate via calling. That will be the core benefit.
Yeah.
But the potential product, I mean, to the top level or the outer level, it can be something else like watching YouTube or some other entertainment purposes.
Yes. So we'll come back to example. Let's try to first understand each of these classification first. So what is a core benefit? So a core benefit is actually the reason for which buy the product, mainly the reason for which we buy the product. So let's say when we buy a car, why do we buy the car? The main reason we buy the car is that we can go from place A to place B, right? The main reason for which we buy a product like a car is that we can go from place A to B. If we rent a hotel room, what is the core product? So that we can stay there for a night or a day. We can put our body into a bed when it's night. That's the core product, right? But there is some other things that we have to keep in mind. At the second level, the marketer must turn the core benefit into a basic product. Okay, so now for a car, when you think about it's taking from A to B, okay, that's fine. That's the core benefit. But to become like a basic product, there has to be a seat in the car, right? Like imagine a car without having a seat. It's still taking you A to B. It has the core benefit, but it's not a basic product, right? So basic product means you need to have some basic features into the product. So in a car, you should at least have a seat where you can sit, like a comforting seat. If you're talking about a hotel room, a bed is fine, but you at least need a bathroom, right? Where you need to go to the bathroom. You at least need a towel, which you can use when you need. Okay, so a basic product, which is something that will supplement the core benefit. Okay, then comes the third layer, okay? Expected product, a set of attributes and conditions buyers normally expect when they purchase their product, okay? So expected product is something that you expect. So when you buy or rent a hotel for a night, well, they will say, we've got a bed, we've got a bathroom, we've got a towel. But if you see that the bed is dirty, like, the bed sheet and everything is very dirty, that's still not a product that you'll buy. So what do you expect? You expect that at least it will come with a clean bed. There's no bugs, there's no mosquitoes and everything. So if you buy a car, you would at least expect that it will have some other features, like, at least you can have a window when you need to, lock it, or there has to be a lock in the car, something like that. So these are called expected product. Like from a product, you need to get those expected product. Okay, fourth level is augmented product, which is exceeds customers' expectations. Okay, so this is the level where you need to have something that will exceed customers' expectation. Okay, so when you buy a car, you should nowadays get a Bluetooth, right? It's like a hands-free service. So there has to be some music, like, you want to play music. You want to play, your songs from your phone. Or there should be some added features, maybe some sky roof, when you want to open, the roof, you want to see some nice views, things like that. Am I making sense?
Sir, can you repeat it again? Augmented product.
Okay, so augmented, what is augmented product? So augmented product is the features that you don't readily expect, but it is something that will exceed your expectation. All right, these are added benefits. You don't always expect that, but if you get that, you will be very happy. That will exceed your expectation. Does it make sense? I'm just giving you some time to absorb. Anyone has got any question?
Maybe no, sir.
Are other people getting the message what I'm trying to convey here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So can someone tell me, from a smartphone, what can we tell the augmented feature could be? Let's think about what could be the augmented feature?
Sorry, LED light feature of Nothing phone on the back side of that phone.
Sorry, what's that?
The newest edition of Nothing phone, there is a LED light on the back side of the phone. That can be an augmented product.
Yeah, maybe you can do like, with your phone, you can have LED lights. Wow, that's a great phone. Like, in the dark, you can just turn your phone into a charger light. Maybe in your phone, you didn't even expect this one, right? But in your phone, maybe you can have a temperature sensor. It will help you to read the temperature. Like a phone, you can use to, like, when you are you have a fever, right? But I mean, touch the phone, your body, and it will give you a temperature. Augmented product, something that you didn't expect. Does that make sense?
Sir, my electricity is gone, so I kept my camera off, if that's okay.
Okay. All right. So augmented product are the features that will exceed the expectation of the consumers. What is a potential product? Now, a potential product is something that is not there yet, but in future, this product could also give that feature as well. So in the car, let's say a car that you bought, you had all of those added features and everything, but in the future, like, there could be a potential product. Like if you get a car, like, in the future, imagine you don't even have to buy fuel for the car. How amazing that will be. That's a car everyone will like. And some car, we know these are becoming like electric cars, right? Like electric cars, the cost is so less compared to a fuel-driven car. So a potential product, it's turning into a potential product. Smartphones, every, like, companies nowadays, they're turning a smartphone into potential what new innovation could be done with smartphones. Like, with smartphones, we knew that, yes, you can get a smartphone, you can talk, you can do stuff, but what if you can turn your smartphone into a entirely new product through which you can actually locate things, you can do amazing, innovative things, which are not even was like a remotely possible, but nowadays that is possible as well. Reminds me of an app. There is an app which is actually tracks how less you use your smartphone. The less you use your smartphone, actually, you can plant a tree. They've got something that is like, they are doing this for sustainability. So they will track your usage of your phone and the less that you use, and that will help you to plant a tree. So they've got some mechanisms through which they do that, right? Something like this. I mean, so think about what could be the future of the product, and that is a potential product. So it goes beyond the augmented level of that. That's called a potential product, which is not even a reality, but it could become a product of the future. And all the brands out there, they're trying to reach towards that level of creating the potential product. If we see the world of product, like innovation, all the product which maybe 10 years ago was not a possibility, but nowadays it is a reality. Who would have thought, like, when phones were like, so big, when phones came, they were like so big and they had buttons. Who would have thought that phones would be all touch controlled, in sensor controlled? And nowadays, it's all so easy. And TVs, which used to be like very big LED TVs, but nowadays they're so like, thin TVs. And who would know that in the future, you don't maybe you need a big LED TV. All you need maybe just like a small device, okay? So you touch the button, and then maybe in front of you, the whole world comes, like you can see the whole TV, right? And that's a reality.
Like holographic.
Yeah, holographic image, like we see that in Hollywood movies, they're making that a reality. So this is called a potential product. So when we think about the levels of product, you have to think, okay, so when you are thinking about a product innovation, what is my core product? What is the basic product? What is the expected? What is the augmented? And what could be the potential product? Right, so hope that's clear to you. Am I getting everyone's attention? Is everyone understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. This is really a very, very core of your understanding. And this is really interesting as well. When you see a product from nowadays, whenever you will see a product, you just don't see the product anymore. You will see product. You'll try to classify the product according to these 5 different layers. And you'll really find it interesting, right? Like every product, what's the core product? What's the basic product? What is the expected product? Let's give you a renewed lens to see product as not just something tangible that you can touch and feel, but there are some other aspects. All right, moving on. Now we're looking into product classification. We'll be classifying the products, right? So first we looked into the levels of products. So when we deconstruct a product, we'll just looked into the levels of product. But now we're going to classify the product, differentiate the product. So we can classify the product from durability and intangibility. We can classify the product based on consumer usage, like how consumers use the product. And we can also classify the product from industrial aspect as well, like industrial usage of the product. So these are the 3 different ways we can actually classify the product. So we'll just dive into these. Okay, so first let's talk about durability and tangibility. All right. So from the point of durability and tangibility, if we differentiate the product, the first thing that we understand is obviously non-durable product, right? So what is a non-durable product? Obviously, which is not gonna
The perishable
fresh.
products which
Yeah,
we have to
perishable
use
product.
within like a 24 hours, milk
Yes.
and other
Food
vegetables.
products, vegetable products, these could be categorized into these different categories. So they are non-durable. They are not going to stay. But there are some products which are known as durable products. So they are all durable. Like, you buy a TV, you buy a fridge, you buy a washing machine, you buy a car, you buy a watch, you buy a smartphone. These are all durable. That means they will stay. It will live. They have a lifespan, but they're not gonna live forever. They've got a lifespan. But that's from the degree of durability. Tangibility is also another aspect. Some products are tangible and some products are intangible as well. Okay, so what is a tangible product? A tangible product means that is touchable. You can touch it, you can feel it. If you drop it in your feet, you'll get hurt. That is a tangible product. But there are some intangible products. What is an intangible product?
Like service, when we take treatment or advice from doctors, we are also taking his product, but that is not touchable.
That's right.
Service industry.
That's right. Exactly the product you're receiving now. Okay, so sitting home, watching Zoom, you're buying a product now. What is that? Education,
Education.
right? Yes,
Yes, sir.
you're buying education. It is costing you money. That is your product. You're going to a salon to get a haircut. That is an intangible product. You have your money into it. When you're getting a haircut, when you're going to the doctor, when you're going to a lawyer, when you're going to a accountant, whatever the service that you're taking, this is intangible. So you can classify the product from durability and tangibility. So when it comes to durability, product could be durable and non-durable. When it comes to tangibility, a product could be tangible or intangible. Are we all clear on this one? Yeah, it's very simple. It's a very basic concept. Now, let's talk about consumer good. Okay, what is a consumer good? So when it comes to how consumers actually use the product, we can classify the product into these 4 different categories: convenience good, shopping goods, specialty goods, and unsought goods. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, let's try to understand the different types of consumer goods now. What is a convenience good? Can someone tell what is convenience good?
Easy to buy, available.
Yeah, convenience goods. It's not only about ease of buying, how easy you can buy, but convenience goods are the ones that we buy more frequently. In our daily life, what are the products that we buy more frequently than any other product?
Food items.
Like the domestic goods we have.
কাঁচা সবজি
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The domestic goods are from the convenient food.
So convenience goods are the ones that are essential, right, in our day-to-day life. These are something that makes our life convenient. Without having convenience goods, we cannot survive. These are the products that we need immediately. We need oil, we need rice, we need food, we need, like, dishwashing, like, thing, or like, liquid things, or everything, vegetable. We need so many of these things, right? Kacha shobji, like, all the, like, poultry items and everything. So these are essential. These are called convenience goods. Convenience goods are the ones that will keep us alive, and they are essential. They'll make our life convenient. But there are shopping goods. What is shopping goods?
Clothes, watch, kind of stuff, I guess.
Cloth, jewelry. These are
Body spray,
shopping items.
Smartwatch, smartphone.
Okay, so there's some product in our life. To buy these products, we take a little bit of time, right? When you buy a pair of shoes, you spend a little bit of time compared to buying a food item, right? When you buy a dress or a shirt or a salwar kameez or any jewelry, you spend a little bit of time compared to buying milk, compared to buying sugar, compared to buying salt. So these are called shopping products. So shopping products are the ones that we look into the product's price, product's quality, style. These are the things that we care about when buying shopping products. Okay, what is a specialty goods?
আমি ভাবছি শুধু আমারই প্রবলেম।
Anyone? What is a specialty product? So by the sound of it, as it sounds, specialty products,
Unique and differentiable.
yes, so they are very unique. They are not like shopping products. Like shopping products, yes, we do care about the style, the price, but specialty products goes to the next level. So we need to spend a lot of time for buying these products. Okay, so specialty goods, they will have some unique characteristics. Brand identification becomes an important thing. Maybe buying a car, okay? It's not like you go to the shopping mall, Bosundara City, and like, Jamuna Beach Park, and you buy a car. It's not like that. Buying a car, maybe it's a plan of 3 years. When you want to buy an apartment in Dhaka or in other cities, it's a lifetime thing, right? You'll spend lots of time. That's called a specialty goods. When you buy a gift for your mother on the Mother's Day, it's a shopping product, but still it's a bit special, right? It's something where you will be very, very careful about the brand. You'll be careful about what your mother will like. That's called a specialty good. You want to buy a jewelry for your loved one. That's an important purchase in your life. So you want to spend a lot of time doing that. These are called specialty goods. They're not like as regular as shopping products or convenience product or convenience goods. Okay, last one is called unsought goods. What is unsought good?
কনজিউমারও জানা নেই এমন কোনো মার্কেটের কোনো প্রোডাক্ট।
Yeah,
কোভিডের ডোজ।
Insurance.
so these are the products you generally don't think about buying. These are only like emergency items. Suddenly COVID came and we started buying face masks, right? Suddenly, like, you will have like, fever. Now you have to go to the doctor and buy more medicine, antibiotics and everything. Suddenly you are facing power outage in your house. Now you have to get what? Generators or something like that. Okay, so these are called unsought goods. So unsought goods are the ones that consumers do not know they will have to buy. I don't know what I have to buy, but in the event of an emergency, I will have to make that purchase. These are called unsought goods. I didn't even expect to buy this, but now it became a reality. Suddenly there is a problem in the house. Electric lines, like, there's like, short circuit, the whole electricity on the house is gone. Now you have to buy generators and power outage and all of these problems. Emergency items, all of those emergency and the needs that are unsought. So these are the types of consumer goods. So when it comes to consumers, this is how consumer goods are classified: convenience, shopping, specialty goods, and unsought goods. So I hope this gives you a clear understanding. These are all be subject to our quiz and upcoming assessment. So hopefully you are getting most of what I'm saying. Yeah, Itila, go ahead.
Sir, I was wondering, where would we put like utility among the 4 groups?
You
Or
mean
would we like create a separate group for them, like necessity goods, something like that?
what type of product you're talking about?
Like utility or electricity and gas we're using to cook.
Utility. Okay, that's a good question. So utility products, electricity and gas, right? Now, look,
Yes.
in different countries, this works differently, I would say. And like utility products are not necessarily consumer products. They are more as intangible products in some ways, right? Because
So
when
they
you're
are
buying,
intangible products, but like we're using up the gas, it's not like coming back to us.
no, it's a very good
We have to
question. I like
produce.
that. But this is not a consumer, like, good, that I would say, because we're talking about the goods that we can touch and hold. Whereas when you're talking about gas or electricity, this is not something, it's not a good, right? It's a service. Electricity, it's a service. Gas,
But
it's a service.
yes, but when we talk about service, it's like never ending. A person knowledge, you can share it with someone, but you can't just give it away. But when it comes to electricity or gas, when you use it, it's gone. You have to produce new batch.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we are classifying. See, we had different levels or different ways that we were classifying the products, if you have seen. So we were talking about from durability and tangibility. Okay. So yes, what you're talking about, utility, these are consumer products, but they are not goods. We have to understand the difference between product and goods. All right. So a product is what it includes also intangible ones as well. But a good is something that is you can touch and feel. But to get back to your question, that should we really be classifying electricity and utility? Well, if we were to really classify them according to these four, if you would still argue that yes, it's a kind of a good, then definitely it will be more of a specialty product, right? Because to get the electricity or utility, it is like a special buy. You don't buy that every now and then. To get your gas line, you don't need to go to the shopping center every time and buy electricity line or electricity subscription. So it's more of a special purchase. But you're paying that every month, the bill that you're paying every month, but it's more of a special purchase. So if you were to still using these four classification to narrow down that what type of intangible product is, utility is, it will be a specialty purchase. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, but very good question. I really like that you thought about in a different way. Okay, just moving on. Now we're talking about industrial goods. Okay, so we have to understand that not all of the products are consumer goods. There are some industrial goods as well. So industrial goods are the ones that are not used as finished product. There are lots of products which we don't use as a finished product. They're called industrial goods. Like, materials and parts. There are different materials, right? Different materials, like a screw, like a nut and a bolt. These are all materials. We don't have any use of a screw, right? A nut, a bolt, like in a pipe. We don't use that. These are materials, and these are used for further production of a new product. So these are called materials. So materials are the ones that the goods that could be used to manufacture another product or a finished product. That is called a manufacture. That's called a material.
So it's more like a B2B situation.
Of course, we were not talking about B2B, like, there is no question of business to business is coming here. It's about we are classifying the product. Everything that is being produced, we are talking about that. It is obviously business to business, but let's just not go to business or in that way of looking at it. Just look at the product in itself. That what type of product is that? So when I'm saying like a parts, like, you know, it's a parts like a screw or like, I don't know, maybe a pipe, maybe any type of things. We don't go to buy these things and use them for no reason. The only way or only reason these products are being used for further reproduction of anything else. So that is called a material. So a material is different than a finished good. A finished good is something that is finished and it could be used immediately when purchased. But a material could not be used immediately unless otherwise it is being used to reproduce something else. So when you buy a tap, you go to the hardware store, you bring the tap, it's of no use unless you attach the tap with a pipe and seal it and then turn the tap on. So now you get the water, right? So these things are called material. Okay. What's a raw material? So raw materials are natural products that are used for further reproduction. Natural products, right? Some products which are raw materials, like to produce, like, you know, petrol, right? When we use petrol for our car, we just don't get petrol from the petrol station, but the petrols are actually mined underground. It's being excavated or being mined, like, you know, there's mines from where you get all of the raw material to produce that into petrol or gas, CNG, you know, octane, diesel, kerosene. So these are called raw materials. So raw materials are the ones that are natural. And sometimes it could be like, you know, farm products as well. Like, you know, like wheat or rice. Why do we use that? These are raw materials. Like wheat is a raw material for many products, right? You want to produce some food, wheat is essential. So these are called raw materials. Another thing is called capital items. What is a capital item?
Machineries.
Machineries, right. Machineries. So big machine, like, you know, in that picture, as you can see, these very big, gigantic robot hands used in assembly lines in factories. These are called capital items. We don't go and buy these things for our house. They are only purchased for factories to install large machines in assembly lines. And that's where they're used. And they're capital items as well. They don't buy it like every day. These are bought like, you know, sometimes. All right, so I hope this gives you a good understanding of all the various products that we talk about. Any question coming out of this discussion as we move to the next stage? Am I frozen? Can you guys hear me?
We couldn't hear you before.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. Yeah.
You are
So-
disconnected for
Yes, sometimes
40 seconds.
Yes, even see even in the very developed world, and using 5G internet isn't always an assurance that I will never have connectivity problem. So you're not the only one who is facing problem. Just probably be assured that there's problem everywhere in the world. Okay, So just give a bit of buzz, like sometimes to হুহা করতে হবে তাহলে আমি বুঝবো যে I'm not frozen, okay? Have I got frozen again?
No, sir, we are okay, sir.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so any question coming out of this discussion now so far? So we looked at different types of products or goods. We looked into the entire, like, you know, the horizon of different types of product and their classification. So I hope that makes sense to you now. So now we are going to talk about differentiation, like how products are different from one to another, and how can we differentiate products. As I mentioned, that this class is all about different ways to look at product. Okay, so we'll be looking at product differentiation. How can we differentiate products from one to another? So there's a range of ways we can differentiate this product. So I guess what is mentioned here is self-explanatory in many ways. So form, what is a form? So form refers to the size, shape, or physical structure of the product, right? So some products would be different than others. So simply size, shape, physical structure. So anything that you buy from one product to another one will be different. So when you buy one type of food, it will be different than other type of food because they're different. When you buy a packed food, this packed food is different than a fresh produce because it's a different. So size, shape, physical structure of the product will be different. You buy one car from another one. You buy a small car, it's different than a big truck or microbus or minibus. So these are called form, the form of the product. You can differentiate one product to like one product.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we could not hear your example. You were gone.
Oh, sorry. No, I was telling you about like different types of car, right? Like one car is different from another one. So that's one way to look at the forms. So now that the internet is starting to play, just stay with me. I'll just switch to hotspot with my mobile internet, if that is any better. Okay, so I'm hoping there will be no further drama. And we'll have stable connection now. Okay, so form, feature. Feature again is the feature of the product. One product will be different than other. You buy iPhone, you buy Samsung phone, you buy Xiaomi phone, they're all different in the feature, right? We differentiate product from one to another based on their feature. Performance quality. Some products we pay more. Why? Because performance of the product, purely performance. Because performance is like, you know, the biggest factor for which we sometimes pay more price to buy more, like, you know, quality product. Conformance. So conformance is the degree to which all product units are identical to and meet promised specification. So conformance, that means that whatever is mentioned in the product will get exactly that feature. Okay, so one product to another one, it's will be another way to differentiate product. Like sometimes we buy a product and we say, I bought this product and I was really expecting better quality because it said like, you know, যে প্যাকেটের গায়ে লেখা ছিল যে wow, this product is very like good and, you know, durable. But just after buying or using few days, the product was not good. So conformance, to what degree your product matches with your specification on what the product is. When it does not satisfy your need, you can easily differentiate. We can easily tell that, oh, these products are really bad because they are not good quality. What's promised, they don't give that. That's called conformance. Durability, obviously, as it sounds, how durable the product is. Because if the product is more durable, we will tend to buy that. Reliability, can we really rely on the product? That's also another product. You buy two different umbrella. One is whenever it's a high wind, very wind, that breaks, and the another one is very sturdy. Obviously, it's more reliable. Repairability, that's another factor. We want to buy a product that could be repaired. Some products are not repairable, so that's another way to classify product. Style, customization. So from one product to another, whenever we differentiate, we need to keep these in mind, that these are the factors when how one product could be differentiated with another product. If products, like, you know, we tend to choose different product based on these different features or these different characteristics. Next comes the differentiation of services as well. Like service is also product, we know, right? So now talk about service, like why one service differ from another one. And there are some reasons. Ordering ease could be one factor. Some services could be ordered easily. That's why we choose that. Maybe in Food Panda, these days in Dhaka, you can easily order foods. So that's why you like the service of Food Panda. Maybe Uber is slightly better than Shohoj or Pathao because maybe Uber has got more features. Okay, Ahad, go ahead. Ask a question.
I have a question from the previous slide. That is, what's the difference between conformance and performance quality?
Okay, so performance, very good question. I really like question. Question means you're trying to challenge me sometimes. You're trying to make me think. And I really want to get difficult questions for which I don't have the answer. So that will make me think. Otherwise, I'll just run through slides. And that's a good question. Now, this one, fortunately, I know the answer. So performance quality is the performance of the product, purely good product and bad product. Some product like, how do I say? Like, let's say you buy iPhone, right? You buy iPhone and you buy Symphony phone. And why is that? Purely you know that Symphony is Symphony and iPhone is iPhone. Performance, these are like, you know, Akash Patal. These are miles apart in terms of difference or quality. So performance quality is absolutely clear. There is no argument. But conformance quality is that when a product promises something, but it does not satisfy that, that is called conformance. Maybe iPhone you bought with the expectation, high expectation, that iPhone 13 will have A3 chip and it is super fast. You can play any games, you can do this. But after using few days, you found, oh, this phone is not that fast. Like as it was mentioned in the advertisement that iPhone 13 is the the quickest and it's the best phone ever. But it's just getting hang, getting stale, or there's some problems. The photo quality isn't that good, although it may not be right. I'm just saying hypothetically, and that's called conformance quality. And then you thought about, oh, maybe buy Samsung phone, And Samsung said it is also a fast phone. It also has like fast features. And it turned out to you, actually, Samsung Galaxy phone is actually better than iPhone in terms of quality. So this is called conformance. Like, both Samsung and iPhone, they're equally claiming that our products are very good, and but then you chose one over the other because the conformance quality in one product was better than the other one. That is called conformance quality. Is that clear, Ahad?
So, sir, conformance is something like meeting some specific standard?
Exactly, yes. Conforming means like, you are meeting or satisfying what you have promised. That is what conformance is.
Keeping promises.
Yes, exactly.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Same example, like, maybe bracuniversity MBA degree. You thought, oh, bracuniversity MBA degree will be much better. You thought, your experience, you were thinking, oh, bracuniversity academics, I was thinking they'll be really good. But after doing the marketing management class, I found, oh, this lecturer is actually not good. He's just like talks too much and he's not that great. So maybe your conformance quality isn't that great. Like bracuniversity MBA isn't that great. Anyway, I'm probably axing my own feet. You can obviously give your feedback if you don't like my class, no problem. There's always room for student feedback, but anyway, that's just an example. Aisha has got a question. Go ahead, Aisha.
Sir, what would be the difference between conformance, quality, and reliability? Is it like if the product don't meet the promise, then it would be unreliable?
Not all the products are reliable, right? Some products are not that reliable. Okay, so RFL এর প্লাস্টিকের কি যেন একটা অ্যাড আছে না, যে some product like RFL প্লাস্টিকের চেয়ার and another plastic chair, which one is reliable? বসলে দেখা যায় ঠ্যাং ভেঙে যায়, একটা চেয়ারে বসলে একটা মোটা মানুষ বসলে পা ভেঙে গেল. So that is not reliable. And conformance is like, when RFL plastic will say this is the sturdiest chair, the best chair, and after sitting in RFL chair you found this is also breaking, that is not meeting the conformance quality. But reliability is purely whether it's reliable, yes or no. Some products, they are not reliable, and you know that when you buy a cheap product, they're not reliable. And you always know that if I buy a cheap, like in a plastic chair, they're not reliable. Okay, Robiul has a question too. Go ahead.
Sir, conformance means something that, if I give example, like I expect that my bus will start its journey from 10 a.m. but it starts its journey at 9:50, then it would be conformance, like it started earlier. It is something like that. Like I expected something, but
okay,
it had
giving a
done.
good example. So giving the same bus example. So maybe imagine there's a bus service in Dhaka which says from Motijil to, like, Mirpur, it will take in exactly 30 minutes. That's our service. 30 minutes will take you from Motijil to Mirpur. And they're selling the tickets, bus ticket you're buying with the expectation that I'll go exactly. Another one that you're buying, and you know that there's no, like, they don't have any guarantee. And performance, purely, that that's like a Lokor Jhokor type of bus, you're not expecting very much. But conformance is that 30-minute bus, you saw that it took you like 3 hours actually from 30 minutes. So purely there's no conformance, like, they promised that we're going to give you 30-minute service from Motijil to Mirpur, and it took you 3 hours. So that's purely conformance quality. You can see, like, you can measure the quality. So conformance quality fundamentally is some products, they promise, and the degree to which they can actually keep their promise. Okay, the degree to which actually keep their promise, that is called conformance quality. Now, there's difference between reliability, because Reliability is another lens to look at, because some products, yes, they are reliable and they have to conform to that. Some products, they're not reliable, so they don't need to think about conforming to that. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Are you all clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, but really like that discussion. So good to have some questions. That means you are listening to me. Very good. Okay, now service differentiation. So service could also be deferred. Ordering ease. Now, getting a taxi or a car through Uber is probably more convenient than ordering a car through other services. Maybe that's why we choose Uber. Maybe Uber is easier. Maybe when we go to a restaurant, ordering food into that restaurant is easier. So ordering is probably the first one for which we choose one service over another, because some services are easy to order. So that's really very important. Delivery obviously is another, the product or the services where delivery is really one aspect of their service. Ease of delivery will also create differentiation. If the product is delivered quickly as opposed to other service, then definitely you will get that. In any e-commerce business, think of some e-commerce businesses, they are delivered, they've got door-to-door service, like 24 hours. Some product or some e-commerce sites, they would probably take 2-3 days. Obviously, we'll choose the one that gets delivered door-to-door service. Installation is another one. If a product has the installation feature in it and the installation service is convenient, we'll definitely choose the one. If buying like a TV, two different types of services. One is providing you, after buying the TV, our service is also, we'll install the TV and we'll repair the TV as well. That's something important. Customer training. If the product, if the service, product is a service anyway, if the service offers customers some training as well, like some products you have like manual, like installation manual, or you have a QR code in the product, you just take a photo of the QR code and you get a YouTube video, and through that you can see manuals on how to use the product. Easy peasy, you'll use that. Customer consulting. Some products can also offer some customer consultation when you need to get some further consultation and advice. Some companies can give you the advice as well, that they will give you specialized advice. You go to a bank for a personal loan, you will get a personalized service, consulting. You can sit down with a personal banker. They will advise you that which home loan is better for you, considering your earnings, considering your current financial situation. That is something that's really important. And that also helps to differentiate the service. Then comes maintenance and repair. Obviously, as it sounds, if products or services have the feature of maintenance, then we'll choose that product. So these are some ways that we can differentiate products, right? And services are also products. So next topic, we're heading into our next topic, milestone, new product development. Okay, so Nuhash has a question. Nuhash, go ahead.
Sir, my question was from the previous slide about customer consultation, consulting. স্যার এখানে ডাক্তারের ব্যাপারটা আসে না, লাইক আমরা অনেক সময় সেম অসুখের জন্য দুইটা ডাক্তার কনসাল্ট করি, যে ওই ডাক্তারেরটা ভালো লাগে নাই, এই ডাক্তারের কাছে যেয়ে দেখি। তো এইখানে যে আমরা এই ডিফারেন্সিয়েটটা করতেছি, এটা কি এটার মধ্যে পড়ে না?
Of course, yes, of course. Some good example, because some hospitals or medical centers we prefer over the others, because সেখানকার ডাক্তাররা they are more caring এবং they will give you better service or consultation, whereas some are more commercial. গেলেই খালি গলা কাটা পয়সা নিবে, but they're not that great. So you can easily differentiate based on that as well.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what about the customer training services?
What do you mean by customer training services? Istiak?
Yes, sir. I didn't get this point. The customer training services.
Customer training, right? You mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, customer training is when the consumers will teach how to effectively use the product. Okay.
So it's, for example, when we purchase the AC or the TV.
Yes, that's right. So how can you operate the product easily, efficiently, effectively? If some services provides you that guidance, then you will get that. When you buy maybe a TV from a Walton store, maybe Walton over Konka will give you a better service. Walton will give you better customer training or manual. Maybe they will come to your house. They will help you to train up. That's also another way that we differentiate one service over the other.
Sir, then what is customer consulting? If we are getting the guidance from the company, that is customer training, right? Then what will be the customer consulting? Example.
So customer consulting is advice. Okay. So it is actually advice that which type of information or like things that you need, like as I say, like, you know, for medical, like a doctor, you go to a doctor and you need to get consulted. Like, you know, you have some problem in your knee, hatute betha. So you go to Dr. A and Dr. B. Why would you go to Dr. A over Dr. B? Maybe Dr. A is taking more care of your consultation. Maybe he or she is giving you more time, looking into your problems. Two universities, right? One university, when you go for a course consultancy for MBA, I want to get an MBA like a degree. Now, University A will give you like very detailed, like, you know, plan, like this is why you should do this many credits, this is what you get. And the other one, they just want to sell their degree to you, not too much of consultation. So that's customer consultation, when you're giving enough information. But training is actually on how the product or service will be, or the, you know, whatever service that you're getting, you need assistance into that. That's a training.
Okay, sir.
The new equipment, yeah.
Sir, maintenance repair take after sale service ta boঝাচ্ছে?
Yes, definitely. It's all about the after sales service, or it could be even during the life cycle of the product as well.
Thank you.
Was there any further question?
Sir, then customer training is related with the product more than the consulting?
Yes, it's about like an equipment. When you buy an equipment, imagine for buying an equipment, you need some service, right? Or like, you know, buying that, after that, you need some advanced training. Maybe you have purchased like a generator. Current যাচ্ছে অনেক বেশি, electricity is going frequently. You've purchased like a generator, but you don't know how to operate this. So you need more training on how to use this generator or IPS. So that's, you will, the maybe where you're buying from, they'll give you further training on how to use that.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay. So now we can enter into the trajectory of new product development. So getting new product, okay, when it comes to developing new product, it is actually a research. There's lots of, analysis, and there's lots of steps involved in it. We see products every day. We use the products every day. And to us, it's so simple. Like, it's another phone, another car, another, toy, another watch, whatever that is. But in order to develop that product, an organization or a company has to go through a rigorous process. And there are lots of steps into that. So the development of original products, product improvements, product modification, and new brands through the firm's own research and development efforts. That is what new product development is. So now we're going to talk about what are the steps in the new product development. So we'll just go through all of these steps one by one. So here's one diagram that has all of these, new product development process. And we'll go through each of these stages one by one, but I'm just showing you this diagram from the text. So step number one, as you see, that every stage has it's like a flow chart decision. It's a decision-making flow chart where there's a yes and no decision that you have to take. So the first step is idea generation. So is the idea worth considering? So imagine when a new idea comes into someone's head that we're going to produce a new product. Now, first step is idea generation. So you have to come up with brainstorming ideas. And is it actually worth considering? So that's a decision. It's a no, so just drop it. Is it yes? Okay, go to the next step then. The next step is idea screening. So idea screening is the product idea compatible with company objectives, strategies, and resources? Because your company has specific objectives or promises or vision or strategies. So is it compatible with your organization? Yes or no? If it's no, drop it. If it's yes, okay, go to the next stage. Third is concept development and testing. So can we find a good concept consumers say they would try? Because imagine you haven't developed anything. This is still like all in your brain, idea. You are simply talking about idea, something still an idea or a thought. So here on stage number 3, you're developing the concept and testing. So can we find a good concept consumers say they would try? No, go to the next one. Marketing strategy development, which is, can we find a cost-effective, affordable marketing strategy? Yes. So imagine you haven't even developed anything, but before even developing any product, you're still talking about these. Can you find cost-effective, affordable marketing strategy? No. Drop it. Yes, go to the next stage. Business analysis. Will this product meet our profit goal? No, drop it. Yes, go to the next one. In stage number 6, this is where you're starting to think about a product development. Have we got technically and commercially sound product? Okay. So, yes, go to the next one. No, drop it. And if it's a yes, there are some other decisions that needs to be taken. Send the idea back for product development. Yes, yes. Then you develop something. Okay. So you're actually developing something in this stage. But if it's a no, just drop it. Then comes Market testing. Have product sales meet expectations? So you need to test the market a little bit, even before go for a wider. So stage number 6 is more of a prototype or a pilot testing. Okay. Or like, you produce like small component of the product. So we'll go through that in more detail, but just, before every car is being produced in the automobile industry, they actually first they develop a concept car and they launch the concept car in the market. They will showcase their concept car, and then they would see the feasibility of the market how feasible is that. Every product has something like that. Not every product. There's some product which does not go
So
through
that prototype part is on the 7th stage, where you said send the idea back for product development. Is it on that stage?
Yeah, that's right. Then you're doing the market testing. Have product sales met expectations? No. Send the idea back for product development again. That means you're going back again for product development, going back to stage number 6, because you have to redevelop the product when you have tested the product and you have seen it's not working. Robbie will ask you a question.
Sir, is it possible that a product without any market strategy development, it can be used by the consumers? Because I saw in Bangladesh, mostly in rural areas, there are many products which doesn't need any kind of marketing to the sellers in the rural areas, and people buy it, and people are buying it, and it is actually meeting the sales target from those areas. So if new product is meant to be developed, and rural areas in Bangladesh can be the areas where marketing strategy doesn't affect, because the sales are meeting their expectation. Is it possible, sir?
Yes, good question. We are only talking about like established marketing strategy and something that is like a structured marketing. What you're talking about, that's definitely it's working for many brands or many companies, or even many village based products, and they don't go through these product life cycle strategies. They don't have any strategy or anything. These are organic, and this is working as well. Okay, so that's even successful as well.
So that's like an exception.
Yeah, these are obviously exceptions. And they're also working quite well. Okay, 8 is commercialization. Our product sales meeting expectations. So commercialization is when you are again thinking to go for fully commercialization of the product. That the product is being commercialized, launched formally into the marketplace. And if there's problem, you go back again, you modify the product. Sometimes if you find that it's not working that well, you go back there again. Now let's just go through these. And there's another concept which will come back a little bit later. I'll be talking about product life cycle, strategies. We'll talk about consumer adoption process as well. Okay. So let's probably talk about this a little bit. So that was a process of, okay, probably I'll just go through this first and then I'll come back to this one as well. Consumer adoption process is also another interesting concept. You'll really enjoy that. But we'll now just go through in these steps. So idea generation. So this is purely about internal idea sources using R&D. You can use some external idea sources as well, like your customers, your competitors, your distributors, your suppliers. So you're integrating all of these parties together at this stage, which is idea generation. So stage number 1. Some companies, they have the R&D. Again, some companies, they don't even need to bother about this because they don't care about this. But we're talking about formal marketing process. The examples that we're using, organic, like, sellers, or, these are not something that fall under typical, like, stages of marketing, or, all the 4 Ps and everything. These are clearly outliers. What's stage number 2? Idea screening. So idea screening is when you have many ideas, then you need to evaluate and then eliminate. So you may come up with, like, you start with a consumer problem. All right, so consumers are facing increasing electricity problem in Bangladesh. All right, especially there's lots of load sheddings in the summer because there's not enough power supply in the grid. This is problem. So how can we solve this problem? So maybe you can come up with 5 different problems, like ideas. And then you need to screen, which is you think about, okay, cost and expenditure, you think about other aspects, and considering everything, then you have to evaluate against some criteria, and then you have to eliminate them. Okay, so this is called idea screening, because not every idea is worth developing at the end. So you have to first come up with ideas. So idea is like a broad lens. So it's like a funnel. So you come up with like a broad, like, list of ideas, and then you slowly funnel and then screen. Third is concept development and testing. So you have the concept, all right, but is your concept is going to work? So maybe you take your idea to the concept, like idea is still inside your head, all right? Your idea is still inside your head, but you have to turn that into a concept. So it's a detailed specification of your idea. All right, let's unpack your idea into a detailed version of new product idea and let the consumers understand that what it is. Because sometimes it could, an idea, a great idea, it's just inside your mind. You're thinking, oh, this could have been a great product. You've got this inside your mind, but actually it's not a concept yet. So in order to make your idea into a concept, you just have to come to the details of it. What is the detail of it? That's called the concept development. And you need to test that with the audience as well. And then they will tell that, okay, all right, that sounds like a product, not just an idea inside your brain. 4, marketing strategy development. So strategy development is the stage where you think about target market. Okay, so who is going to buy my product? I've got a great product idea. I'm thinking product positioning, sales, share, profit. These are the things that you need to think about as well. You cannot just simply think about concept. Okay, that's a great concept. Let's invest our money. Let's develop it. No, it's not the time yet. You need to think about who is going to buy your product. Are you going to be profitable enough? Like, is it going to give you enough sales? What's going to be your profit goal? Like, you maybe it will take you like 50,000 like taka or dollar, whatever that is, to develop the product. So in how many years do you think that you'll be able to get the money back if you launch the product? So these are the decisions that you need to take in stage number 4. Stage number 5, which is analysis. Again, this is further detail. Sales, cost, profit, projections. You have to go through all of these. Because if there's no business feasibility, then that's not yet viable. So you have to think about that. Then goes to stage number 6, which is product development, prototype development and testing. So stage number 6 is when you are going to develop something like a prototype, maybe a scaled down version of the actual product. Scaled down version of a product. When Apple produces every new phone or every new device, first they develop all the Apple products. These are all made in China, right? Like all the Apple products and everything, these are made in China. But even before the products are actually made in China or manufactured in China, actually they will first develop the products in their California head office by their designers. First, they will develop the product and they'll see the product, if this product idea is worth taking to the next stage. Once they see that, okay, all right, just putting together the whole product, they will see that, yes, this is a complete product now. Then they will go for mass production. Test marketing and commercialization. As we explained before, test is you need to test the product, because test in the product like market by the users and see if they think this product is worth taking it to the next level. And then commercialization, which is finally you commercialize the product and you think that, well, this product could now be commercialized. But keep in mind that even after commercialization, you may have to go back to stage number 6 again, which will be developing the product. You may have to redevelop the product again. Now, let's take a pause here again and see if there's any question from the audience.
Sir, stage 6 product development, which is like simulation of the product.
Simulation, yes, you can talk about a simulation. It could be a simulation. So simulation is when you don't invest a lot of money for mass production, but you just come up with a scaled down version, like a pilot. So some products may not have a simulation per se, like, simulation is a term that could be used for highly technical product. But if it's just like maybe a toy, or maybe it's just like a simple plastic and then that doesn't need a simulation, right? So simulation is something that you'll use probably for highly technical product, like an automobile, something like that. But
Okay, sir.
yeah, okay. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, I got it.
Okay. So we're just going to talk about product life cycle strategy now. This is also a very important concept, but I'll just go back to that probably after this. No, maybe let's just go back to this diagram here that we were just talking about. So when a new product is actually developed in the market, imagine when a new product gets developed in the market, it comes into the market, there are different ways the product is actually being accepted by the market, okay? This is called consumer adoption process. So adoption process is actually how a new product is actually being accepted by consumers. So, and there's a behavior that could be analyzed. And based on that behavior, product manufacturers can take lots of decisions. They can take lots of input from that. These are called the stages of product development or consumer adoption process. Stage number 1 is, or the first group of consumers that are going to accept your product, which is called the innovators. So you can see the percentage. This shows the percentage of consumers who are actually going to use that. They are called innovators. So innovators are the ones, whenever there's a new product, they're the first lot to actually buy the product. So whenever there's a new technology product, and this is more consistent actually for technology-oriented product, maybe not in all product, it may not be like this curve, like this bell curve may not always work in that shape. But typically for technology-oriented product, this adoption process, it works more. So innovators are the ones, they actually first try the product. And that's like a small majority of the market, only 2.5%. It's hard to put that number specifically, but as I said, like more for technology-oriented product, ratio-wise, it's being seen like a small proportion of the target market would actually try the product. Let's say when it comes like a new iPhone or like a new TV or like a new car or like a new type of something, like a small type of people, they're called innovators. Whenever something new comes, they are the ones immediately they will buy those products. Then there's a proportion of consumers.
Sir, in innovators, the YouTubers who review the new phones, they are the innovators, right? Like when there is a new phone, they will be the first people to buy those phones no matter what and review those.
Yeah. Well, it depends, like, if someone has a YouTube channel or not. Like if they have a successful YouTube channel, then they'll do it. I mean, they have reasons, separate reasons, because they want not only to try the product, but they have other objectives, right? They want to get more views, so more consumers will see their product. That's the main objective that they have. But that's a different motivation. But in general, other than those motivations, if we consider consumers, some consumers are likely to try out the new product immediately after launch, because this group of consumers, probably they have more money, probably they have more interest, probably they're more enthusiastic, they will try out. Then comes early adopters. Early adopters are slightly higher in proportion than innovators. And they're the ones who will start to think, okay, all right, this new TV or phone that came, let's try this one. Then comes early majority, which is another group, and they're actually the majority, as the curve shows, that they will think that, okay, this new product has already launched in the market. I heard from others or friends who have purchased this product that this product is really good, so let's use this product. They're called the early majority. And then comes the late majority, which almost equally to the proportion of the early majority as well. And they're the ones who will also buy late than the early people, but they're also in the same proportion and with the same motivation, that they think that, well, maybe it's time that we buy. And you can actually use this behavior very relatable, specifically for a technology-oriented product. This curve is really very reflective with the technology-oriented product. And then comes laggards. Laggards are the one who will try out towards the end, or they will wait that when the prices of the product will really go down. Like when আমি একটা আইফোন কিনবো যখন দাম একেবারে কমে যাবে, or like iPhone 13, some people, they just, whenever iPhone 13 comes, they will buy iPhone 13. No, iPhone 13 আসছে বাজারে, I need to buy iPhone 13, it's in the market. But some people, they'll probably use like the old one, iPhone 11 or 10 or 7, or they're thinking, okay, when iPhone 13 will be like that the prices will go down, I will use that. Now, our behaviors tend to differentiate based on product to product. for fashion products, some people, they are very fashionable. So they will try out the new fashion, the new fad, the new type of fashion that's in the trendy in the market. They will try immediately. But for other products, their behavior could vary. So this behavior, consumer adoption process, not always identical in case of all of our usage. Maybe for a technology product, you could be a laggard. Maybe for fashion product, you could be an innovator because you're very fashionable. So you always think, okay, whenever there's a new fashion comes in the market, new dress or a new type of trend going on, I'll be the innovator. So depending, this is more of a generic guideline, but our behaviors tend to be different. And there are lots of influencing factors that could influence whether our adoption process is going to be in this shape or not. So these are obviously quite old concept, may I just remind, but because I have been reading this concept since 2000 when I started reading marketing. And while some of these concepts still are relatable, maybe they're not always like as what it shows in the curve. They're not as theoretical as like this, but it just does show a general disposition of consumers' behavior, of how consumers may display their adoption behavior when it comes to a new product into the market. Any question coming out of this? I hope there's no question and it's easy to understand. So I'll be moving to the next topic now.
Sir, I have a question actually.
Seriously, Samina? Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, what's the difference between customer adoption process and product lifecycle process?
Oh, there's totally two different things. The consumer adoption process is obviously how you as consumers, you are adopting a new product when it comes to the market. So consumer adoption process is a consumer behavior that is related to a new product. Whereas product life cycle is a product. And what are the different life cycle that a product will go through, which I'm just about to explain now. So right timing to ask this question. So product's life cycle, okay? So a product is actually, it actually goes through different life cycle stages, okay? আমরা ব্যাঙাচির জীবন চক্র পড়েছি না, ব্যাঙের জীবন চক্র বা everything has a life cycle, right? We also grow, like we were born, a mother's womb. We were infants, then we became toddler, then we became children, like then we became teenage, then we became young adult, and then we became grown-ups, mid-aged, old. So we have life cycle. Everything has a life cycle. So, and then finally in our case, there will be a time when we will be perished, right? We will be perished from this world. We'll die. Everything will be end of story. Gone. I'm past. So for product as well, a product also has a life cycle. A product also goes through a life cycle. And in different life cycle, now why are we talking about product life cycle? Because we or marketers need to think about what will be the marketing strategy or expenditure that is needed for each of these different life cycle stages. Because depending on different life cycle stages, there will be different types of marketing or strategy you need. So simply, let's talk about these and then I'll explain you all the strategies as well. Are we all tired? Does anyone need break?
Yes. sir.
Yes, sir, we need.
Okay, all right. Let us give a 5 minutes break. So just maybe stand up. If you're sitting, go get a glass of water. 5 minutes, and we'll come back after 5 minutes, and then we'll talk about this again. It's important to give our brain a pause as well. So I will also pause the recording as well. So we're getting back from the break now. So we'll be talking about the life cycle, the various stages in a product's life cycle. We'll be explaining the life cycle stages, and then we'll talk about the marketing strategies corresponding to each of the stages in a product's life cycle. Okay. So as we can see that this is the stages: product development stage, then comes introduction, then growth, then maturity, and then comes decline. So what are each of these stages? And we can see this curve as well, how the profit is actually also corresponds to a product's life cycle stages. We can see that, the profit also corresponds, the graph of the product life cycle stages, also how it starts. It's low at the introduction stage, and slowly it grows as well, corresponds to the maturity. And then with the decline, the profit also declines as well. So now let's just explain this in a bit more detail. So stage number 1 is product development. So begins when the company develops a new product idea. It's a new product entirely into the market. So in this stage, sales are actually 0, because you have only developed the product. It just only seen the market. In this stage, your investment costs are very, very high. That means you have to heavily invest into the product, into marketing, into campaign, into building more awareness of the product. Profits will be negative at this stage. You have to keep in mind, because you would not be able to make much profit from the product, because you are not going to make any profit, because you are only investing in the product. Consumers, they do not know about your product at this stage. This is called a product development stage. No profit, in fact, negative profit, but investment costs are very, very high, because consumers are only getting to know about your product. This is called product development stage. So your marketing expenditure will be the highest end at this stage as well. Introduction. Okay, you've only commercialized the product. The product has been only recently commercialized, and low sales. Sales are only starting to generate from the product. High cost per consumer acquired. Again, your customer acquisition cost is very high, because you have to heavily invest into marketing. Profit is still negative. You are targeting the innovators. Keep in mind the same concept of consumer adoption process, like innovators and early adopters. Then you have early majority, late majority. So in this sequence, if we think about that, this is called the introductory stage. Innovators are targeted, and little competition at this stage, because your product is only into the market. There's not enough competition in the market, because you have only recently launched a new product. So you can think about, when I always use the example of Apple, because it could be related, because when it comes to maybe iPhone 13 or 13 Pro, it's only introductory stage, and you've only recently developed the product. or only recently launched the product into the market. Consumers are only getting to know your iPhone, the new features, like the advanced camera functions and everything. So slowly it is actually getting to see the market. This is called the introductory stage in its product's life cycle. Competition is still at this stage very little because competitors' products, your consumers are not aware of the feature of your product as compared to others. So this is called introductory stage. Next comes, marketing strategies. We might just focus on marketing strategies now. What could be the marketing strategies into introductory stage? Product, you're offering a basic product. Price, use cost plus basis to set pricing strategies, although we have not discussed in more detail, but this will make sense when we will be talking about pricing in our next class. There are lots of different pricing strategies. So cost plus pricing is a strategy where you are adding the cost and then just simply pricing the product, adding the cost of the production, and then just adding some price or adding like a profit to the product. That's called a cost plus way of pricing. Your distribution, you have to build your distribution. Again, this will not make sense much to you, but selective distribution is what you need, because you will not be able to widely distribute the product through lots of retailers and wholesalers because the product is still new. So this is called selective distribution. Advertising, you have to build awareness among early adopters, like your dealers and resellers. Sales promotion, heavy expenditure to create a trial of the product. Next stage is your growth stage, which is the really very crucial stage, because this stage, what's happening? You're rapidly rising sales, average cost per customers rising, your profits started to rise slowly. And innovators have already tried your product at the introductory stage. Here you're trying to capture the early adopters, because keep in mind in our previous, like the graph where we were talking about the consumer adoption process, innovators are only 2.5, whereas early adopters are like 13%. Or 13+% of the consumers. So you're trying to target this 13+% of the consumers. And your competition will grow slowly because consumers are starting to know your market and they can easily compare with others. So you have to heavily, competition is growing now with other brands, because consumers now can actually compare your product with the other products that are available in the market. What are the marketing strategies? Offer product extension, service, and warranty. Penetration pricing is one strategy where you have to penetrate. Penetrate means bhenge kono kichu dhoka bhitore, orthat marketer moddhe you have to just penetrate, invade through the market with your marketing strategies, along with your pricing strategies. You have to build intensive distribution at this stage, because now that consumers are buying, you have to go to more wholesalers and retailers who will actually buy your product and they will sell your product. Advertising, you're still building awareness and interest into the mass market. Sales promotions, you have to think about reducing expenditures to take advantage of consumer demand because you want to grow more sales. Maturity. What's maturity? Maturity stage is, if we just go back to this curve again, as you can see here, that the profit maturity is when the product is already in the market. This is the ultimate goal of every marketer or every brand, to go to the maturity stage. That means the product has already seeing development. Lots of sales are happening. Profits are also very much at the peak at this stage because the product has already matured. Consumers are well known. Your marketing expenditure will slowly reduce at this stage because consumers they're already aware. Stress brand differences and benefits. Sales promotions increase to encourage brand switching. So you're trying consumers so that they can switch to your brand. But your advertising cost will be lowered at this stage. You'll try to reduce your advertising cost, and your profitability would be very high at this stage. And then lastly, decline. So the decline is the stage when the product's life cycle has already been sold a lot in the market, and you've seen that the product consumers, they've already all the early majority and late majority, they've already used the products. There's no point in investing further. Competition is declining as well. So again, for iPhone, 13, after a year, when Apple sees probably iPhone 13 is at the decline stage now. Maturity stage was gone, it's slowly at the decline. Consumers, they all know what is iPhone 13, all the features and everything. They've already experienced the phone, the features, the everything. So it's going to the decline. So laggards, you are just trying to get the laggards now. It's already now. Again, I'm giving these examples now. Market to market, this may vary. I'm talking about how would I say this? Like a market which has a stable behavior and a market where the product could be related. So probably I'm giving the example of this probably comes more in the example of first world, like iPhone 13. But in countries like in Bangladesh, probably iPhone 13 could still be at the maturity stage or at the growth stage. But if we see in the Western world, probably it's going to the decline stage because consumers already want something new. And that's why an Apple will come up probably in every year, September, they comes with their new phone. So maybe in September, they're going to launch iPhone 14 already. It's been rumored that iPhone 14 is going to have additional feature than iPhone 13. So it's a decline probably in the Western world, but maybe it's still at the maturity stage or growth stage in the other markets. So you have to take a pulse of the market. Which market are you operating? Not every market will be the life cycle strategies could be different from market to market, from consumer group to consumer group. So that's something you need to think about as well. So what happens in the decline stage? Well, phase out weak items slowly. Now, decline stage, what Apple does probably, they will decline. You'll see that whenever time comes, Apple to launch their new phone, they will drop the price of the iPhone 13. And they do it intentionally, deliberately, because they want to come up with a new product soon. So now their strategy is to just cut price, lower the price, because you want consumers not to buy this product anymore. You are trying to phase out weak items, use selective distribution. Slowly, you're trying to take the product out of the market because now your plan is to launch the new product very soon. Advertising, you reduce to level needed to retain hardcore loyalists. Only the loyal consumers will stick and the rest of them will no longer use your product. Sales promotion, reduce to minimum level. So that's the decline stage. So it's important to take into consideration in relation to which market you're operating, what's the behavior of the market, whether they really see your product in this way or not. So these are the factors that you have to consider, because you cannot use this strategy in all of the markets. It will obviously vary from market to market. So depending exactly on your market, on the scenario of a market, this behavior will change. But these concepts, as I mentioned, these are very old marketing concepts. Like many products, or there's lots of criticism of these theories. These theories not always work as they were developed early 80s or 90s time. Many products, they don't even go through these sequential stages. Some products, they'll just go straight from development to maturity. And the decline may not come that way. Many products, they'll never have a decline. They'll always be the same, okay? So maybe when it comes to consumer goods, buying salt or sugar, or, it's something like that. It's a consumer good, all right? It's a convenience good. The product lifecycle strategy does not at all work. If you're talking about detergent powder or something like that.
Sir, I have the same question is just running in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. So this life cycle strategy, this is just like a generic, way to look at the product, but it may not always be like this. But this does give a signal of new product development, that when you're going to develop a new product, what are the stages a product will go through? The life cycle stages that a product will go through. And that might give you some indication of how this life cycle theory might work. Now, I want you to use your thinking hat on, very reflective thinking hat on, and then would like to do some discussion now in a breakout rooms. Okay.
So can we repeat it one thing, that is the shopping goods or the luxurious good have the product declining stage, but the convenient good is not being in a declining
no, we
stage?
cannot do that. We cannot always do that, because still in convenience goods as well, if some convenience good manufacturer, let's say soap, all right? Let's say soap.
Yes,
we
sir.
buy
For
soap.
example, the Lux Life or the Unilever product also.
Yeah, Unilever products, soap. It can also have the same life cycle stages as well. Lux Shavan, the way we have been using. Now Lux soap, they've been planning to launch like a new type of Lux soap, which has got new fragrance. They're using like a new model, like Porimoni or someone like that, who is more popular in Bangladesh, or Ananta Jolin, someone like a celebrity in the market, and they're trying to bring a new packaging or something like that. The life cycle strategy will still be the same. This theory will still work, because you have to go through the product development, introduction, growth, and maturity and decline. So for new product, if it's a convenience good and you're thinking about how do you bring this product into the market, you still have to think about these life cycle strategies. So it depends on new product development specifically. Whenever you're thinking about a new product into the market, this life cycle strategy will be very relatable. So I want you to think about it in a more detail in a group discussion. So we've got some discussion question now, okay? So the discussion question is, why do products fail? That's something that I want you to discuss in a group. Come up with some reasons. Why do products fail? The second is, discuss the life cycle stages of any product and explain. And here I want you to think about different types of product, okay? So I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. Let me just put you into random breakout rooms, and every room, I want you to just come up with new, like random. Let's not specify anything. I want you to just come up with everything. If there's any duplication, we will just have like a shared discussion. But let's just have like a quick reflection of like this, and then we'll wrap up our today's class. So quick 5 minutes for a breakout room discussion. Now, good to see we've got a full class. So maybe I'll just create 5. Yeah, let's create 5 breakout rooms. So you'll be invited to join the breakout rooms. And in your group, you'll be talking about why do products fail? And you'll discuss the life cycle stages of any product. Just pick the example of any product. But keep that in mind, we're talking in relation to new product development. And then you are going to explain that. Okay, so opening up the rooms now. Time now is almost like 50 past 8. So we'll try to finish this one by close to 9, and then we'll wrap up in the next 15 minutes. So opening up the rooms now. And while you're in the group, I want everyone to be as participative as possible. Don't just hide, try to interact, because in the discussion, I would want someone to talk and add value into the discussion. Okay, so rooms are all open now. Please join the respective rooms where you've been invited to join.